Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News. The season is officially underway. Challenges has begun, at least the qualifiers over the last 12 hours or so. We're going to go through all the results and the upsets today. Some big stories for sure, in addition to the fact that there's a 4-team invitational tournament with Ludwig and Tarek hosting in a few days' time, with Sentinels actually attending and playing their first matches with their new roster. Very much interested to your thoughts down below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Loads of new subs actually the last few days. Really do appreciate it. Firstly, if you guys didn't see this, I kind of forgot to mention it the other day. A mad spot here on Split, which is basically impossible to deal with. So I'm guessing that's going to be patched relatively soon, because this is a pretty mad one that you can get up into now. And yeah, good luck dealing with this, especially the way he gets the final kill, which, I mean, yeah, just absolutely outrageous angle here that maybe you guys can try and exploit before it gets patched up. Quick note as well on the fact that there will be cosmetics coming for the lock-in event, they're calling it. Basically, the kickoff in Sao Paulo. So I'm guessing, you know, for champions, they do the in-game skins and stuff. Might be a similar thing occurring. They also mentioned, I believe, in this interview, the fact that there will be other agents arriving. At least one more agent this year, so at least 1 or 2, maybe 3 agents again will come this year. And in a few minutes' time, actually, we'll discuss the agent pick rates here so far in 2023, because, man, Chamber is absolutely dead as it stands. Also from the guards, confirming their roster going forwards, we know it's going to be Valent, it's going to be Trent, it's going to be Yona P, it's going to be Nets, but yeah, TeX is joining their team, formerly of NRG, of course. He's now joining their lineup, and well, they've been looking pretty good so far, but they don't have to play in the qualifier, which this team does. So Virgil 1, we thought, okay, are they going to come back into Valorant? What's the plan there? It seemed unlikely they were going to sign a Challengers roster, just because at that point it felt like, you know, signing a Challengers roster last minute to just hope they qualify, and then if they don't, then, you know, that's it for their season. Doesn't make much sense. What they've done instead makes more sense, as in, so they're signing a Game Changers roster, but the Game Changers rosters can also compete in Challengers. So this is a part, at least, of the former, you know, Cloud9 team. They split up a bit. Cloud9 White, there's been some changes around. Mela, of course, included in this one, and they're also going to be competing, and they are competing over the coming days in the qualifiers as well, to try and make it into Challengers, kind of, well, the Challengers tournament in general, and if they, of course, place well in that, they can get to Ascension, all this type of stuff. So technically, this team could qualify for the Partnership League, but if they don't make it through to Challengers or whatever, they can still play in Game Changers, so probably a good decision by them. Pretty cool to see these guys getting picked up by an actual organization. Now, you guys have been sending me loads of scrim bucks over the last day or so, which I do really appreciate. There's a lot to discuss today, though, so we can't talk about all of it. Just wanted to share some screenshots that have been pointed out, one of which being Sentinels versus Cloud9. This game at the time was 10-9 in Cloud9's favor, so some practice going on there. Also, this between G2 and TSM, of course, only 5 rounds played, but still 5-0 in G2's favor. And I must say, every single time I've seen a kind of screenshot of G2, they're doing it rather well. So the rumors certainly are there, and maybe they are true, that G2 are smoking everyone they play in scrims right now, and TSM are also in this tourney we shall see here in the coming days. And also this one between Cloud9 and FaZe, with FaZe up 14-9. So they don't play to 13 here, they just play out all the rounds, which is why it doesn't end at 13. But yeah, Cloud9, yeah, at this point, and boys down 9-14 to FaZe. Not much to read into, but thought I'd mention it for you guys regardless. Also, Evil Geniuses are beating up on somebody 15-3. So yeah, that's pretty ugly for them. Now, speaking of some of those teams in question, this is the Ludwig Tarek Invitational, actually a LAN event coming up, I guess, in LA over the coming days. This happens this weekend, the 14th and the 15th. These are the 4 featured teams. The Guard TSM T1 as well, which is really exciting, right, to think about, because, of course, Sire Player Writer was on the Guard. He went to T1. There's some good storylines there. There's some show matches going on as well. But also, there's Sentinels, right, are actually going to be attending this one. Exciting, right, because we have seen that the likes of 100 Thieves, they played an event back in, well, back in the start of December, right, their Red Bull homegrounds. So did Cloud9. But the other teams don't have, you know, getting some LAN practice, even if it's a Ludwig Invitational, right, getting some LAN practice going into the kickoff event in Sao Paulo is going to be valuable to a certain extent. And that this kind of confirming here, the teams T1 with, of course, Sire Player and the rest of the guys. Ban as well, of course, was one of the imports, I think, from the North American side. Zeta went there as well. So pretty exciting possibility. And then Sentinels rounded out by TSM and the Guard as well. And Sentinels go on to say, I think we heard some rumors this was going to be happening, right? The Sentinels were going to compete in this, but Tarek, kind of obviously with that Sentinels relationship, was going to be able to make that happen. And yes, Sentinels on LAN this Saturday, invitational tourney, but I guess someone's going to win. And if it's Sentinels, they will take some confidence from that going forwards, because TSM are going to be a solid team for sure. So are the Guard, obviously, trying to get some practice from their side going into challenges, because they don't have to play the qualifiers, but they will, you know, they do have the automatic invite through to challenges, right? But of course, Sentinels getting ready for the tier 1 sides, and that, yeah, finally we might get Sentinels versus TSM. Not sure what the format is here. It's almost a bit like a Beyond the Summit type thing. They get the teams invited. I'm guessing all the teams will maybe play each other at some point, or not exactly sure how they're going to do it. But yeah, regardless, hopefully we get Sentinels versus TSM. That would be fun. And also we get to see how this new Sentinels lineup is going to work out on LAN. And I'm sure that, you know, the coaching staff, Kaplan and Psycho, are going to enjoy at least getting that opportunity to see the guys on LAN. Yes, they've got very little practice compared to the other teams, let's say 100 Thieves, Cloud9, but, you know, still a week or so's practice going into a LAN event. That's going to kickstart the direction of this team going into the kickoff about a month from now. Let's talk then about the Challengers qualifiers. This was to me the big story of yesterday, and as 100 Thieves say, excited to watch VCT Challengers with, of course, you know, Sentinels, Cloud9, 100T, EG, and NRG, watching the likes of TSM versus Disguised Toast team, of course, getting down there and dirty the Challenger side. Now, last night, the way it works is it goes from all the teams in the world can enter down to just 32. So it's single elim all the way to the top 32. Once 32 teams were made, it's now double elim, and in a couple of days' time, 4 teams out of those 32 will advance through to Challengers to join the 6 teams we saw automatically invited the other day. Joining TSM, Shopify Rebellion, of course, the Guard, FaZe, M80, and G2. Those are the 6 teams that got automatically invited. There'll be 6 more over the coming days. Now, these were some of the favourites just to watch out for going in, and many of these are no longer in the tournament. So as I say, single limb until top 32. So Curry's team, formerly of Cloud9, they got knocked out relatively early on. Not a good sign for them. Also, this team, which was City Boys, were considered to be quite a hot favourite, really. Pancakes, of course, Raucus was here, Kanpeki was here, and even Poachright and Zachary. Like, that was meant to be a pretty good team, I thought, to be honest, right? But those guys got knocked out pretty early on. I mean, they had great heritage on, and well, tenure, right, on other teams, but that didn't go well for them. Dark Ratio did make it with their new team of Will and Co. They're never done as well, which was obviously signed very shortly after this to version 1, and then Disguised Toast team, of course, they are still alive, and that was, you know, pretty much it, right? So, you know, Will's on their roster technically, this type of stuff. But anyway, these were the key upsets, right? The link points out here on Reddit. So City Boys were knocked out by this DMG team. Now, I believe these guys will still have a chance just because there is another qualifier. So this one concludes. There's then another qualifier after that, which is called the Last Chance qualifier. I'm guessing that's again open into top 32. It's possible maybe they'll do that tournament as in the teams that don't qualify out of the top 32 of this tourney then get to go again. But I imagine these teams will still have a chance, but still, it's not a good sign losing here. If you lose here, like, your chances of getting to Challengers is basically chalked. But it could be done, I suppose. Then, you know, Curry's team, of course, they also lost as well. Then the Stronglegs guys, they lost also 1-2. Squirrel Warriors with Ethos and Waded and those guys, they lost 0-2. So some surprising results there, and also, well, a pretty crazy result between version 1 and what could be the new exit roster, because actually, well, even as Raucus says here, you really thought we were going to make it. So, I mean, yeah, he was predicting, or Xander here was predicting Dark Ratio breakthrough the nation. That's Stewie2K's team, DSG. So these are his 6 teams he thinks will qualify. Hopefully Raucus's team maybe still can, but not obviously a good sign for them in this part of the qualifiers, and they're already done. Now, also just to mention, right, the fact that that version 1 team with Fluorescent and Co. were playing up against the other potentially new exit team of Bob, Katsumi, and some of the other former Cloud9 white girls. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? The fact that, you know, there was Mel and Alexis and, well, these guys that were formerly on the Cloud9 white team, they play the other part of their team that blew up over the last couple of months already right at the start of the season. So, like, Game Changers drama is built different, and the Valorant gods certainly know about it. And even as Trix says here, after they made it through, were there any upsets today? You guys made day 2. Besides that, haven't seen it. He thought that was kind of funny. And this is the top 32 then as it stands. So if you guys can just about see this, these are the teams here on the left-hand side. So yeah, Dark Ratio, they made it through. DMG as well, that was the team we saw that kind of had a surprising result. But they played the Nation, which of course is Stewie2K's team with Wardell and Co, Rossi, Tig, Brax. So if they win that, they will play Dark Ratio in the round of 16. Then Moon Raccoons, Sonics are here. You've got Girl Kisses, of course. They always tend to make stuff like this. Breakthrough, that's the team, right, of Thief, you know, Sim, Broker, Proto, those guys, Flyer as well. So they're certainly notable. Lots of good teams here, of course. The version 1 team, of course, we just looked at. Then, this is pretty spicy. We've got Disguised, which is the DSG roster, Disguised, Toast and all that. And then they might play Virtuoso, potentially, if that happens. So, you know, maybe they'll win this and they'll have to play Virtuoso. That's kind of interesting. And then right to the bottom where we do have this Oxygen team, which is also considered to have a decent chance to make it as well, with Mitch, Pony, you know, Randy Savage, these guys. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for now. This is the top 32 over the coming days. You guys can see tonight, January the 10th, a lot of games tonight. And then early hours of this morning, for me, there's going to be more games. items. So by the time we get to this morning, a lot of this bracket will already be kind of completed, and an awful lot of Valorant still to be played in this one. And just as I mentioned for you guys a few minutes ago, these so far, I think in 2023, or pretty much since the patch update, is what the agent pick rates look like in the challenger side. Chamber, as you guys might well be able to tell, is not even on the list. He is at 3% pick rate right now. They've killed him. Now, whether that's bad, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, to be honest. Like, getting rid of Chamber, I think kind of has fixed the meta in parts, but I do wonder if they won't want him to be that low, I imagine. They'll probably want to either buff his trip or do something to revert the absolute destruction they have given him. But it must also be said that Killjoy is now dominating the meta. Jet is used pretty much everywhere, but you know, apart from Bind and Fracture, but Killjoy is used everywhere pretty much, apart from Bind and Breeze. Now, Bind and Breeze, of course, are getting removed from the map pool, so, you know, Killjoy is going to be the dominant agent, right? And I think a Killjoy nerf might be happening down the line, just because, I mean, look, she's going to be dominating this meta more than likely. She's already dominating it, 70% pick rate, and that's including some Bind and Breeze that are going to go. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.